All these questions are things global students are carrying quietly. And that's exactly why we have a new series titled What's Next? A space where you can ask all these questions and feel supported through the journey.
Your story is unique and it's worth telling. That's why we have Global Student Voices. Your questions are valuable and you're worth it. So the big hack is know your story, know who you are, your personality, your strengths, and be able to articulate.
Welcome to Global Student Voices. This is a space built for students navigating their global education journey, asking real questions and trying to make sense of what comes next. And if that's you, this is the right place. If you've ever thought about studying in a different country, but you didn't even know where to start, maybe you've looked into it, you've tried to understand the process, or you've just felt confused and overwhelmed from choosing the right program to understanding scholarships to knowing who to ask. All these questions are things global students are carrying quietly. And that's exactly why we have a new series titled What's Next? A space where you can ask all these questions and feel supported through the journey. Here are some questions we've gotten from students so far. One student shared, "What's the one thing you wish you knew before stepping onto a foreign campus?" Another asked, "Are there really fully funded scholarships that cover everything? And how do I position myself for them?" These questions might sound simple, but they carry a lot more behind them. For many students, this isn't just about studying abroad. It's about opportunity, it's about growth, and sometimes even changing a situation. In this episode, we're going to explore what this journey really looks like and what students should begin to understand as they start. So, before we get into these questions, I think it's important we understand who's guiding us through this conversation. Mr. Martin, you've worked closely with students navigating global education journeys. Can you share a bit more about your experience and what you've seen students go through?
Absolutely, Michelle. And first of all, I'm really excited about this new series. It's been something that I wanted to do, and I just needed a driving force. And so I appreciate you doing that. Yeah, my background, a global student myself. I grew up in Kenya and then transitioned to the US for my undergraduate and began working with other students like myself, even while I was still in school, and continued that through a 10-year term at my university as the director of international student services. So I did everything from the application process through scholarshiping, through the transition to the school experience and thriving at school. Um, and my journey has continued in this arena. So I've been at an international school as a high school principal um, and been working with students all over the world, helping to navigate this transition and take advantage of the opportunities that are out there for all of us.
Okay, that's amazing. I think I can already see how you're the perfect person to be leading us through this conversation. I think one question maybe I just wanted to ask is maybe something that you've noticed that's a constant in every single global student's journey. So, what are some of those constants that you're noticing, especially in the 21st century?
Yeah. Well, one of the constants is always a degree of self-doubt. Um, all the students that I work with or have worked with over
Mhm.
in all these years are extremely capable students. They're always students who are able to do the work, are able to succeed at the next level. It's very rare that I encounter a student who's not. Um, but even so, even though they have all these attributes of successful student and a flourishing student, there's always an element of self-doubt. There's always this concern, what am I missing? Am I doing this right? You know, I've worked with students who spent hours and hours on a single application, sometimes on a single question on the application, just because they fear if I answer this wrong, will it derail all of my hopes and dreams? And I think that's probably one of the most common. Every student faces that same concern.
Ah, that's so true. As you were answering, I was actually reflecting back to a time I was applying for university overseas myself, and I remember overthinking every single essay question. And I'm like, am I sure this is what they want to hear, or should I take another perspective? So I think that's very true, and I'm thinking our listeners are definitely agreeing as well. So I think we can definitely then just hop into our main segment, which is our global student voices. So the first question we have comes from Victoria, and she moved from Zimbabwe to Zambia for her education. And her question is, What's one thing you wish you knew before stepping onto that foreign campus?
Well, thanks, Victoria, for the question because it's a really good one. Um,
Yeah.
if there's one thing that I would say to every student who's doing the study abroad,
Mhm.
in addition to obviously do your homework, the more you know about your destination place, the better. Um,
The better.
the more research you can do, the more people you can talk to, all of that will increase your likelihood of flourishing. But what I will say is, regardless of your personality, when you first arrive at a campus, you're going to need to act like an extrovert, right? I'm not an extrovert. I require a lot of regeneration when I'm meeting new people, but I know the skills that come from extrovertedness, right? And those are skills that you're going to have to apply in those first few weeks at your new place. And if
Hmm.
you know that, if you can anticipate that, hey, I'm going to be putting myself out there, I'm going to be acting like an extrovert, um,
Yeah.
it just takes the pressure off. Um, a lot of introverts will be looking for places to retreat to in those first couple of weeks. Don't do that. Be an extrovert for 2 weeks. Recover after. You'll live. You'll make it. I promise. But being able to act like an extrovert, being able to walk up to people and say, "Hi, my name is Michelle, and I'm very happy to meet you. Tell me your
Yeah.
story." Saying that over and over and over and over, practicing that those first couple of weeks with your professors, with other students, with the people that work in the food service, just all the way through. Practicing that for the first couple of weeks will be absolutely transformative. Students who do that
Yeah.
absolutely will thrive. It's the easiest, fastest way to success.
That's so true. I'm thinking about all the networks you could make in that short time of space. I wish I had someone telling me these as well in my first year of university, but that's definitely one good hack. The next question we have here is from Tohib, who is located in Nigeria. So Tohib asks us, are they fully funded scholarships that actually cover everything? And how do I position myself for them?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a really common question. Um, there certainly is a perception that surely that's not true. And partly
Mm,
because a lot of times when we see full ride scholarships or full scholarships, it really is kind of the
yeah.
academic side and it doesn't address like living arrangements and transportation and the books. And like there's a ton of expenses that that don't always get calculated in. And, one of the things that when I'm working with a student and a family, we're always addressing kind of all the hidden costs and possible surprises because the thing that derails students most quickly is unexpected surprises, unmet expectations. And so finances is one of those things where we often go in thinking more is covered than actually is. And so it's a really good question to ask this. The truth is, yes, there are full scholarships. There are scholarships that cover everything, particularly when you get into master's programs and you combine different kind of packages, you can get everything covered. And I thought what I would do in anticipation, I knew you were going to ask this question. So in anticipation, in the link, there'll be a document that you can actually click on if you, wherever, whatever the description is, wherever you're listening to or watching this video, we'll include a link to a document that'll actually give several examples in several different countries so that you can find the real thing. Pardon the interruption. Thanks for listening to this episode of Global Student Voices. We're glad you're here. We try really hard to provide good content for international school leaders, parents, and students. But to know what you want to hear, we need to hear from you. So please reach out and let us know what you'd like to hear next. Now, back to the show. The way to position yourself for these scholarships and any other scholarship, and this is true across all things and admission in general, kind of goes back to your question of wanting to answer the questions the right way and the essays and so on. The right way to answer the questions is always truthfully, authentically, and reflectively. Your
Mhm.
answer has to be true. And and those of us who read these essays for a living can usually tell if this is an act or if this is authentic,
Mhm.
and so be truthful. You don't want to get to your destination school based on a lie. It will set
That's
you up for this disaster, right? So you want to be truthful. You want it to be authentic. You want it to be genuinely who you are.
yeah,
But you also want it to be really well informed. So the, the if there's a trick to setting yourself up well is know the scholarship, know the school as well as you can. If you can get to know that school, do your research. And yes, it takes time, but with AI and all the other resources that are available to you, it's much
yeah.
easier now than it was even a couple of years ago. Do
Hmm.
that research, figure out as much as you can learn about the destination, about the scholarship, and then
Hmm.
start to draw the links, right? Those lines between you and that scholarship, you and that program, you and the school, why you want to study it. The more you know about yourself, the the area of study that you want to be in, the school and its specialty in that area, though you'll start to draw those connections. And that those are probably reasons you want to go there. But you need to articulate that in the application process. So every opportunity you have to say, this is why this is a good fit for me. I've reflected on who I am as a learner, and here's why this is a good fit for me. What you want to do is to take the committee people who are reading your applications uh, or the admissions team or whoever, and you want to help them see you as a part of their story. Does that make sense? So you want to
Yes.
help them see you as a part of their story.
Of your story.
That's why people put money behind an applicant, and they say, I can see this applicant's going to be successful. They're going to represent us as an institution well. I want them to represent us. I want this person to be the face of our institution. That's what a full ride scholarship is. Essentially, they're paying you to be their spokesperson. And if you
Hmm.
think of it that way, it really changes the dynamic of your application. You're essentially full scholarship, full covering everything is a huge investment. Think about that. Is it like if I were applying to a school and we're getting a 45, 50, 60, $70,000 paycheck,
Yeah.
I would take that application pretty seriously, right? And the same is true. That's what a scholarship is. It's essentially they're paying you to represent them.
Yeah. Yes. Ah, that's really good, solid advice. I think it even answers the next question we have, which is from Sinankosi in Eswatini. So she's asking, is it really possible to get 100% scholarship for masters, and what does that actually take? So I think you really answered that well. And something I think our viewers would be very curious to know is how exactly Global Student Solution then fits into this whole journey, because we're looking at a student and all that they need to do to be able to get into that school that they desire to be in, to do that program. So how does Global Student Solutions then fit in and help them in terms of their journey?
Yeah. Well, everything we do is about helping students. I mean, whether we're consulting with a school, it's to help the students at that school thrive and flourish. When we work individually with students and with families, it's really about helping that student tell their story better. The better you tell your
Yeah.
story, not make up a story, but the better you know and can own your story, the more likely you are to be able to get access to scholarships, admission, the whole range of everything. Like it's just more likely, and that's hard for
Yeah.
people because we're insecure. Humans are just insecure people, and it's hard for us to imagine that we are worth someone else's investment.
So much. Yeah.
We want the scholarship, but it's hard for us to see that we're worth it. And the reality is, and for graduate students, and this is where this question I think is really helpful, is one of the common ways that graduate students get their tuition covered and other expenses covered is through stipends and through essentially working for the university. Essentially, they're coming in as a teacher's assistant
Mhm.
or as a scholar
Yeah.
assistant, and that's the most common way that graduate students get access to those funds. I mean, so essentially, you're applying for school, but you're also applying for that job, and you're saying, "Here's
Yeah.
why I'll do a good job as a graduate assistant. What does that look like? What are the characteristics? And do I have the background knowledge to be able to mentor and tutor and
Analysis.
undergraduate
Yeah.
students.
Hmm, that's a solid tip. I am now trying to see, okay, so what are some practical takeaways or some practical tips that students can already start applying in terms of navigating their global education journey?
Yeah, I think the place to start is with yourself. It's are you have you taken ownership of your own learning, both past and present? So do you know what
Hmm.
you've accomplished already, and can you articulate that? Have you documented it?
Yeah.
The practical step I'd say for everyone is build a portfolio that tells your story. Um,
Yeah.
One of the practical ways that we come alongside students is to link them to portfolio building tools,
Hmm.
and then in some cases individually working with them, somebody on our team working with them as they complete
Yeah.
their portfolio. Most students don't even realize the things they should be and could be documenting that make them really valuable to the school. And for the students that are listening to this, your global story is really valuable to institutions. Nobody has your exact story. Even students in your same family or from your same school or from your same town, they still have a different story. And your story is unique and it's worth telling. It's why we have Global Student Voices, why we interview students and people all the time. Um,
Yes.
your questions are valuable and you're worth it. So the big hack is know your story, know who you are, your personality, um, your strengths, and be able to articulate those. That's probably the quickest thing. If you haven't taken Strength Finders, it's a tool that to helps you identify your strengths. That's We benefit nothing from that. We don't get paid for you to take Strength Finders, but it's a really great place to start for students that are entering this journey.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Martin. I think that was so many tips that someone can already start applying. And I'm so excited to see where we'd go with this new series, What's Next? And this is me encouraging every single student out there. If you have questions, if you're wondering what exactly do I do? What's next? How do I apply for this? This is exactly the platform where you come, and we have someone as wise and experienced as Mr. Martin be able to kind of answer those questions and take us through that journey. So if you have a question you've been carrying, you can send it to us through a voice note, a written response, and we'll attach a link in the description. So this platform is shaped by students, and we'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much, Mr. Martin, for joining us today. Um, Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
your
Michelle.
insights.
My pleasure. And
Thank
we do want to hear from you. If your students out there listening, we do want to hear.
Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in to Global Student Voices. If there's something you've been unsure about, maybe you're even overthinking, send it in. The space was created for you. Let's start making your journey make sense.
I'm so grateful you stayed till the end. This was a great episode, and I hope it was really helpful to you. Again, we'd love to hear your feedback, but we also wanted to make you aware of some of the other ways that you can connect with Global Student Solutions. Global Student Voices is a service of Global Student Solutions. We also provide books and resources like you see behind me, as well as a variety of other services, educational content, and consulting. So we would love to connect with you. And at the very least, if you can follow us and subscribe on our YouTube channel. We also have a membership program coming up, and we'd like you to be the first member. So let us know, get your name on the list, and we'll make sure that you're the first to join the membership community. Thank you, and have a great day.